going into the transfer portal, I just wanted to go somewhere where, again, I felt like I was at home and I felt like I could make an impact on the team. Going through the phone calls, you got to talk to coaches, see what their intentions are, see what the team's intentions are. As a recruit, you tell people what they want to hear a majority of the time, and sometimes you don't tell them what they want to hear, and they trust that process and they take it. Yep. And coming to Penn State, Coach Franklin told me straight up, he was like, we're not giving you anything. And I'm like, I like that. There's a lot of clamoring about the ranking, and I know you guys don't even really talk about that internally. With all the noise that's happened outside about Penn State football and being ranked so high, how do you guys maintain your focus, and what does that even really look like? A ranking's cool and all, but at the end of the day, it don't matter until you get to that last game. It don't mean nothing.
Like we kind of don't really talk about it. Like it's like, okay, at the top of the week, we're like, oh, we're number 3, cool. And then keep it pushing. It's the next week. We got film in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's like, cool, move on. Like nobody really talks about it. We're trying to win too. Right. Yeah. Like, I drop a ball. Like it's like, I want to catch the ball.
You think you want me to catch the ball more than I want to catch it?
Yeah, like you think you want to win more than I want to win? Like, come on now. Like, be serious.
As a general rule though, if you're a football player that watches this, you should make it a rule. If somebody can't draw cover 3 on a whiteboard, we don't listen to what they got to say about nothing to do with football. We can't do it.
Correct. Correct.
That's the fact of the matter. What's going on, everybody? Aeneas Hawkins here in the Family Clothesline. If you have not found your way here, make sure to stop in. You can find Family Clothesline at 352 East College Ave, of course, State College, PA 16801. Make sure to stop in if you haven't yet. If you're gonna go online, you can find Family Clothesline at www.pennstateclothes.com. Visit us in the heart of Lion Country. We have extended hours here at the Family Clothesline on home football weekends, or you can find us 24/7 at www.pennstateclothes.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Lions Den, brought to you by our friends at State Media. I'm Aeneas Hawkins. That's Devon J. Thomas. And Devon, do us the honor of bringing in our esteemed guests.
We are here with the next Penn State great wide receiver, Ohio State transfer, 4th down getter, big game clutcher, Julian Fleming. Julian Fleming, how you doing tonight, brother?
My guy, I'm good. I appreciate y'all having me on here, to be honest.
For sure, man. Yeah. Of course we'll have you on, man. It's been cool to watch the way your career has gone and the way you've battled through all the different things that have come your way and how you've handled yourself. But we got to start right at USC, bro, because you've been an unsung hero in the offense. You've played at a high level. But to get the opportunities in the biggest moments and then to convert on them, as a fan, as somebody who respects the hustle, was something I respected and commended. But tell me about how you feel after that and what those moments meant to you.
Honestly, they meant a lot. Obviously, coming into the game, Drew and I had a little miscommunication on one of the first balls, and then I had a really, really bad drop coming in the second one on a hitch, which was really easy money, conversion pass, throw it, get it out there, make a play, get a first down. And I just happened, bad eye discipline, and I dropped the ball. So my confidence was down a little bit, but I kind of got to go deeper in depth with a couple people after the game after it. And I had a practice kind of like that earlier the week before where I couldn't catch a cold. I couldn't catch the ball, dropped 2 balls in one-on-ones, came in the team, dropped 2 balls back-to-back, and I actually had to walk out of the facility. Yeah. And just go for a walk outside and, man, like, come on now. Sometimes when you get in that headspace, it's hard for other people to shake you out of it because it's more of a you versus you game. So having that happen prior, a week and a half, 2 weeks before, I think that kind of set me up for that moment. And, I think God doesn't do anything unintentionally. So just having that happen and be able to make the one play on 4th down and coming back and making the other one, obviously it was super exciting for me. It was a big confidence boost catching the first one. And I feel like we were just rolling from there.
Yeah. And so we talk about, your successes, your failures, what have you. But what a lot of people don't know is what doesn't show up on the stat sheet is just your effectiveness in the game. You have corners and safeties biting off onto you, opening up. Maybe it's Trey or maybe it's Amari or, one of our other very talented receivers. But most people don't see that. How do you, kind of block out the criticism for people who don't necessarily understand, like?
Well, honestly, it's really hard, and it's something I haven't really been good at up until probably the past, year and a half, 2 years, going into my senior year, because it's something you have to learn to do. And, everyone says, block out the media. I don't care about what this person says. But at the end of the day, everything takes a toll on you. So, it honestly was really hard to get to that point. And, someone who I've had countless injuries and stuff that have affected me during my career. And, at Ohio State prior, and always people just judging. He didn't do this, he didn't do that, not knowing really what's going on behind the scenes, and being able to block that out and just be like, you know what, if you know football, you know what's going on, and you go out there and you affect the game in any way possible, and that's kind of the mindset I take in every single game.
Yeah. You come from a unique position where, I remember I was in school when you were a recruit, and I wasn't following recruiting. Like, I wasn't worried about it. I was trying to survive up here. Like, I was up here getting my head kicked in. I'm not worried about what recruits are doing what, just to be frank with you. And I remember sitting in a study hall when you initially chose to go to Ohio State. And I remember, like, unanimously, like, players, coaches, fans, like, people walking around are like pissed. Like they're like pissed. So I remember in that I remember immediately, like, after seeing that response, being like, I gotta Google like who's Julian Fleming? Like what's up with Bulls? So I want to talk about that. Like, you go into Ohio State with these lofty expectations, being as big of a recruit as you were, and for one reason or another, you have to go through trials and tribulations to get to where we are today. Talk me through what that was like, those highs and lows, and some of those emotions that come with not meeting the expectations that other people had set on you as a young man.
Honestly, at that younger age, when you're like at that highly recruited level, you think you're it.
Yeah,
like you think you're it, and no one realizes that once you get to college, all those stars kind of go away, and it's a whole readjustment process and the being who you are and being a receiver. And I was lucky enough before the USC game to stand up and be able to talk in front of the team, kind of about everything that I've been through and going through all the situations that I've been through and my process as a whole. And it was brutal. I had a lot of injuries. I battled countless injuries, been under the needle so many times, just having surgeries and getting stuff fixed. So it was a really, really hard process. And the big issue was for me is I couldn't control some of the stuff.
Yep.
Especially trying to come back from an injury. And, you feel like you're good enough. You come back from one injury, you get another one.
Yep.
And it kind of stacks on top of each other. And, it always makes you question stuff in your head like, man, am I good enough? Is this still for me? Do I still want to do this?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Real.
And that's a real question that a lot of football players ask each other every day that people really outside of football don't see it. But like I said, it was brutal at first, and kind of getting my feet back under me and just gradually building my confidence back up and just reassuring myself who I am as a player and who I am as a person. I think it was hard, and it was something that really, really affected me for a decent amount of time, and I was happy I kind of put myself out of that little area.
Well, I want to ask you on that note, you're right. A lot of question asking does happen when you are hit with that type of adversity and you're constantly trying to rebuild. I mean, being hurt, the biggest battle is rebuilding confidence. I mean, just as big as rebuilding what you're able to do physically. My question to you is, what was it that kept your head in the game? Like, was it family? Was it faith? Like, what kept you ticking to get you to where you are now, where you're contributing and playing at a high level at another Big Ten school?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would probably say it was my family. I have a little sister who's 12 years younger than me. And my mom, obviously, is amazing. She was my support system, like, throughout, played the mom and the dad in the situation. My grandfather and my grandparents were amazing, and I really have a close-knit family. So just being able to get on conversations with them and be like, what you could do. Like, exactly what it is. Like, build that swag that you used to have back in. And I'm like, maybe you're right. Maybe I do got to build that back in. And, like, I want to tell you, like, when I play, I don't talk. I don't like to talk. I don't like to get into anything. I just want to go out and play the game. And it was kind of that, just them telling me, like, be who you are, like, be who you used to be, like, just trust it. Like, you've had stuff that threw you off, but you got to trust the course. And honestly, I do attribute it a lot to my wide receiver coach when I was at Ohio State, Coach Hartline. He was awesome. Yeah, awesome guy in my process. And he always said it. He was like, don't compare yourself. Like, everyone has a different course that they have to take. And I came in from a smaller school and wasn't as well-developed as some of the receivers that I came in with. Mm-hmm. So I had a longer process and a more difficult process. So I just had to embrace that, and whatever comes from there, we'll see.
And so, talking about that whole process from Ohio State to Penn State, what made Penn State a priority for you, once you hit that transfer portal? You had already chosen Ohio State, over your hometown school. What made you want to come back to Penn State?
Yeah, making a decision coming out of high school, everyone wants, make a decision that you think is going to be best for them. And I felt like it was a very, very stable support group that I had there, and I wanted to go somewhere I was going to get developed and continue to play. I'm not saying Penn State doesn't develop receivers or anything like that, but it was just somewhere I saw stability, and I wanted to go out of Pennsylvania. I've been in Pennsylvania my whole entire life. So, I went there, I was able to be developed and had a great time. I built lifelong bonds with, people, CEOs, everyone of that nature. Yeah. So it was an amazing experience for me, and I loved it. But, going into the transfer portal, I just wanted to go somewhere where, again, I felt like I was at home and I felt like I could make an impact on the team. Yeah. And it's hard because, like, you feel like a recruit again.
Yeah.
Except I was a 23-year-old recruit.
Right.
Exactly. So there was no more, I'm going to a visit to have fun. I'm going to do this. It was strictly business.
Yep.
And, going through the phone calls, you got to talk to coaches, see what their intentions are, see what the team's intentions are. And you don't get to see the other side in high school or the recruiting, where they're car salesmen at the end of the day. And let's be honest, they're good at their job.
They're really good at their
Let's
job.
also be honest. It's not hard to lie to 17-years.
It's really not. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and so that's something, not to say coaches are used car salesmen, but as a recruit, you tell people what they want to hear a majority of the time. And sometimes you don't tell them what they want to hear, and they trust that process and they take it.
Yep.
And coming to Penn State, Coach Franklin told me straight up, he was like, "We're not giving you anything." And I'm like, "I like that. I like that a lot. Like I want to re-earn everything that I have accumulated in my career, and I want to earn the respect of the team." And that was my first goal coming in. So
you did
it was
that.
amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
For sure.
Just coming in. Obviously, my support system, my whole family's an hour down the road. So I felt like it was kind of an opportunity for me to right or wrong on a decision I got to make. Years prior, and I just wanted to come back home, make an impact.
And, just talking about your impact, right? You came into we've talked about you a lot actually on this show without you even being here, and we've talked about your leadership as an older player in the room. So what do you feel like has been the biggest differentiator for the group, from an older guy who's seen other successful wide receiver rooms to now our offense? What is the difference for you, or the difference that you thought you brought into the room?
I don't know if me, myself, made a difference in the room, but I think it was more like a lead by example kind of thing. I came in, the first week I was there, I'm like, I'm going to be out on the field every single day catching passes.
Yeah.
And that was my goal to come in. I just want to go in, I want to continue to better myself. And I think last year I didn't get to see too much, obviously, of Penn State besides when we played each other because that wasn't the main focus.
Yeah.
And, coming in now, I think just the willingness to work of the group, it's awesome. Like, you never go in somewhere and you're catching passes by yourself. There's always somebody who's willing to go with you. And I think that's really a testament to just their commitment to football and their commitment to maximizing themselves. And I think Coach Higgins does a great job in pushing the group and continuously just asking for more. Because at the end of the day, you always need to be better.
Right.
So I think he does a really good job pushing that, and I think everyone's kind of embraced that, and I think that's really what's pushing the group this year.
I'm curious to hear the difference. It's no secret what Ohio State's had in their receiver room. Everybody around the country knows it. Coach Hartline, you mentioned, I'm a Coach Hartline fan because he played for the Cleveland Browns with my Uncle Andrew, so I know the type of guy he is. I respect him, and he's developed tremendous talent in that room. But coming into Penn State, who was in a different situation, and that room had a lot of question marks and a lot of people asking questions in the media. How do you compare the rooms in terms of the way that they work, in the way that they grind and go after getting better and constant improvement? Like, does Penn State stack up with a school like Ohio State in that room specifically in the way they prepare?
I'd say, of course, it's very similar. I think every single college football team around the country and every single position group probably prepares about the same way. If you're in that top 10, top 5, top 3 teams, everyone's doing pretty much the same work.
Yeah.
But I think one of the big differences is just the access that we had in the winter. That was a big thing that we got to talk about in leadership council a little bit. We're just trying to make Kaluba a little bit more available because sharing with a lot of sports was it was hard.
Sure.
Some sports come in there and they're like, "Hey, we need the whole field," and there's also other sports in there that are amazing and be like, "Hey, take your piece, whatever you need over there to get whatever you need done, and we're going to be over here," and that's awesome. So I think that was a big thing that we were kind of lacking, that we kind of built back up.
Yep.
We had our certain time slot, and we were able to go out there and maximize our time slot, catch as many passes as possible, and make them as intentional as possible.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this, just because I'm genuinely curious, and Vaughn, you can speak to this too. I know, I literally probably took the opposite route that you did. You went from PA to Ohio. I go Ohio to PA. A big reason I came to Penn State, just to be frank, was because I wanted to curb stomp Ohio State. I'm just telling you how it is. That's why I came here. So I know year in and year out, the way the guys in our locker room, how we prepared and the energy was just always a little bit different when we were getting ready to play Ohio State.
Yep.
And that was a respect thing, to be honest with you. So I want to ask you, from the other perspective, like when we would come play y'all, like were y'all as excited as us? Like at that time, I know things have changed and evolved, but I'm just curious, like what was that like?
Yeah, it was always really exciting working up to the week, especially as a PA guy, and being over there. I think it was always really, really exciting coming to that game, but it also was taken like every other game.
Right, which is how it was here as well.
Yeah, because you have to. You can't underestimate or overestimate any single opponent.
No doubt.
You got to come in and like we had the big thing when I was there was the importance of every single play.
Yep.
Because 1 or 2 plays at the end of the day was going to come down to that game.
Yep.
And I think that's something that we do really, really good job here. 6-second mentality.
Yep.
Just one play at a time and being able to embrace that. The only game that was a little bit different there was Team Up North. Not going to get into that.
Right.
But yeah, that was one. Jerseys on the ground, you stomped on them through the hallway.
Right.
There's a clock. Team Up North workout every single day. Crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Crazy, but awesome. I'm not gonna knock down the old rivalry, but that was also something that was everyone was super excited for. I say those were always the 2 games that everyone was like,
Those are the
that's the end of the season. That's what's really gonna make or break of the season.
Yeah. No lose November, man. You can't lose in November.
No lose November.
No lose November.
That's funny.
I mean, we just talk about wide receiver coaches and how the offense has developed so much this year. What are the similarities or differences have you found between Coach K and the coordinator that with the coordinator that you came from at O State?
Honestly, Coach Day was he was the play caller when we were there. So he, head coach and called all the plays. I think Coach K is just his system is so diverse. Mm-hmm. And it kind of also roots out people who don't pay attention, which I like a lot. Yeah. So, if you're a kid that thinks you're going to come into an offense and learn it without studying it,
you ain't in the right place.
You're not in the right place at all because there's so many working components in his system that if you don't know every single one and you make a mistake, that could ultimately be the mess of that.
Yep.
Yeah. And we talk about it in an offensive room a lot. One person messes up, that whole play could be done. And our defense is a little bit different. Yeah. Because say a corner bust coverage, but you get a sack.
Yeah, we're good.
That saves that. Right. So it's a lot of different things. So you really have to really, really be locked into every single aspect of the offense and every single aspect of every single play.
Listen, if you're looking for your NIL jersey, Family Clothesline has what you need. Over 120 of the Penn State football players are exclusively working with Family Clothesline to bring to you their NIL jersey. Each one of Family Clothesline's NIL jerseys features the official patch that lets you know that these jerseys are the real deal, super authentic, and they directly benefit our Penn State Nittany Lions. Jerseys are available in both navy and white, and the sizes go up to 3X in both adult and youth sizes. This jersey program benefits the players in a great way. Make sure to go get yours at www.pennstateclothes.com. I really feel like that's the mark of a great football coach because with the extent and the length of a football season, not just the season, the off season as well, it's hard to maintain focus amongst as many guys as there are on a college football roster. So the more guys that you can find a way to keep engaged, and even if you're doing that via scheme and via the play calling, that's a good thing because it's hard to keep guys locked in for that long when they're not playing as much as they want to, or maybe they're not getting the football as much as they thought they would. To be able to maintain that's important over the stretch of what now is like a really long season with the addition of the playoffs.
Yeah, most definitely. I would definitely agree with that. And obviously my freshman and sophomore year when I was really wasn't playing that much, that was hard for me. Yeah. Because, you don't know what reps you're really going to get at the end of the day.
That's real talk.
You really don't know if you're going to play or not. So you really just got to embrace every you got to embrace every role you have. Maybe it's all
forever, man.
Yeah. I was not behind me for long at all. That's a lot. That is I actually remember the exact moment that Vaughn passed me on the depth chart and it never changed again. We had a center who spent time in the NFL. This is an NFL football player. Devon, I don't remember what it was. Maybe fresh off of COVID, maybe just like a young guy. We hadn't seen that from Devon yet. We go to pre-practice one-on-ones. And Devon makes his mind up and takes this man 13 yards and slams him on his back, and everybody went nuts. And that was it.
Bro. Young Vaughn, and it was out of COVID. You want to know why? Because Keziah came 3 days later and didn't lose a rep against
Keziah got me that day too. This is the funny part. I want to say this. This is how it used to go.
I lie to you not. That whole offensive line ended up somewhere at some point in time.
Keziah
came in and didn't lose a rep the entire day.
It was one of those things where every sack Keziah made, there were more and more people who would walk by me and just kind of look at me and see how I was holding up because everybody knew what time it was.
Just a little side of
man, it's over for Hawks. Man. Hawks going D2 next year, man. Anyway, I want to get into Penn State more. I know we talked about a lot of things, but the offense is playing at a really high level, and it's been a ton of fun to watch. It's explosive. Everybody's playing hard, but the thing that's really impressive to me is it looks like you guys are genuinely having fun rep in and rep out. I hadn't watched you play a ton before you came here, and the first thing I noticed about you is that I can't find many plays where you're not in the frame at the end, chasing something down, going and blocking for a guy, going above and beyond for your teammates and your brothers. So talk to me a little bit about the brotherhood here and how you felt about it just as a whole.
Yeah, I think just the care for your teammates is a really big thing. And at the end of the day, if someone doesn't trust you to play for them, how are they going to play for you?
Yeah.
So, and I think that kind of works in all aspects of the game. You know, say, I don't think Von's going to play for me on defense. Why are you going to trust me on offense?
Right.
So I think it's kind of like a big circle, and you have to build that brotherhood. You have to build that chemistry. You have to build that trust. So, you know, running back's going, man, I'm running.
Yep.
I'm going to try. I might not catch up, but I'm
going to try.
I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best to, like I said, just impact the game any way as possible. Yeah. And you never know when that, 45-yard gain that Beaver Stadium blows up. Could have been a touchdown that changed the game.
No doubt.
So like I said, like coming down this stretch later in the season, it's one or two plays could change the aspect of a game. So just that mentality, I think, every single game and coming in and just having, for lack of a better term, a give a shit factor.
Yep.
And that's really just what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah. I bring this up once a year, Von, but I love one thing that Franklin says. He always is talking about the illusion of choice. Like, that was his thing when I was there. Like, if you really want to be great, whether it's as an offense or as an individual player, and anything you're doing, there's not a whole lot of choices that are to be made. You know what it takes. It takes what it takes. I want to ask you this as well. Coach Hawkins obviously has played an instrumental role in that receiver room. And I think for you, your position is interesting because you were a vet guy coming in, but you're a transfer guy. And the question becomes, okay, well, how do you establish yourself as a leader when you're the new guy in the room, even though you're a vet and you're a wise guy? So I want to ask you, how helpful was Coach Hawkins in helping you become a leader? How helpful was Coach Franklin? And what was that process of becoming the leader that you are in that locker room now? What did that look like? Yeah,
I would say Coach Hawkins pushed me a lot, and he gave me a lot of, assurance. And that, like, man, like, you can take that step. You can be vocal. You can do this. You can do that. And I don't like to be a vocal person when I really feel like I don't have the trust of every single one there. And as a new guy, you feel like a freshman all over again.
Yep.
And that's scary coming in.
Yeah.
Coming as a freshman, you're like, hey guys, and you meet people, but it's hard. And I'm like, man, gotta go meet a whole new team of guys. Yeah. Gotta reestablish trust between guys. And Coach Hawkins was a very instrumental part of that. And I still wouldn't say I'm the leader of the group. We have so many guys that are instrumental in their leadership tactics throughout the entire room. So I think just having an extra piece in there is really, really good for us this year.
No doubt about it. I don't want to call receivers drama queens or anything, but like,
for sure.
Your room,
for sure, they're all drama queens.
Let me check that. Let me check that. My point in saying that is, it seems like it's a leadership by collaboration thing. Like, it seems that there are just so many of you who are uplifting and upholding the standard that everybody is being a leader by just upholding that. And there may not be one guy who is dominating the whole room. It seems like everybody is holding each other accountable, and it's really been selfless.
Yeah, and I like what he said earlier about everybody has their own way of leadership. Everybody has their role. Like, Trey isn't going to be like Amari. Like, it's all different. You know what I mean? And I feel like Julian, along with you and Coach Hawkins and Coach K, I feel like you guys were the right combination to kind of change that group, because everybody, once again, like we said earlier, everybody knew who you were when you committed to O State. I mean, it was the same thing with you in the transfer portal. Coach Franklin is sending out DMs saying, yeah, we need to get this kid. You know how Coach Franklin used to do that. He used to send that for everybody.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, I feel like you were definitely the right choice in terms of what we needed as a team.
I think it kind of attests to that too. Just our willingness to work together in the receiver room, kind of what you're saying. And everyone could watch each other's reps, and just being able to have simple conversations about, hey man, like maybe you could have stemmed a little more inside, or maybe you could have hit this at your top end. I think that's really, really crucial. And hearing a perspective from somebody else, because I ain't gonna lie, like, I'm a bigger body.
Yeah.
I don't move like Trey.
Right.
I don't move like Liam. I don't move like Amari.
Right.
And they all don't move like each other.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of different attributes that every single person has in the room, and being able to try to apply singular attributes from other people, I think, is really, really crucial at constantly enhancing your game.
Yeah, 100%.
You're a wise man.
Yeah, you're an old man.
You're a vet. I can tell just talking to you.
For sure.
Sidebar here. We mentioned Coach Franklin sending tweets. I don't know if he still does this, but one gripe I have with Coach Franklin, this is completely off topic, is that he would send these mass tweets out. Like, there's so many guys that you got to try to connect with. So I'm not mad at him for sending mass tweets out.
Yeah.
But, bro, I'm in my 4th year. I'm running a 5.2 640. My knees don't work, and I'm getting Aaron Donald highlight tapes in my Twitter DMs. I'm like, you and I both know that this is not finna happen because you sent me this tweet. Like, stop wasting my notifications.
We're just not the same.
Like, we're just not even, what are we talking about?
He just wanted to inspire you.
Yeah, it's all mental. Let me ask you this. So, as we look at the rest of the season, there's a lot of clamoring about the ranking, and I know you guys don't even really talk about that internally.
Yeah, no.
But for the viewers back home who don't know, with all the noise that's happening outside about Penn State football and being ranked so high, how do you guys maintain your focus, and what does that even really look like week by week?
A ranking's cool and all, but at the end of the day, it don't matter until you get to that last game. It don't mean nothing.
Like, we kind of don't really talk about it. Like, it's like, okay, at the top of the week, we're like, oh, we're number 3, cool. And then keep it pushing. It's the next week.
We got film in 10 minutes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, cool, move on. Like, nobody really talks about it, And then Coach Kale, the wrestling coach, he comes in, he speaks to us a lot about mentality. The wrestling team has won for decades. They have individuals with multiple NCAA titles. You know what I mean? And he tells us a lot about not inhaling, not inhaling the good, not taking the bad, because it's all the same. It's all going to affect you negatively, So it's kind of like, okay, cool. Now, next thing, this is how we need to do this. This is how we need to get better. You know what I mean? Like, the difference between winning Big Ten and the national championship is this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's every little play, or it's how you're stepping here, like you said earlier, how you did this route, or how I took this slant, or, you know what I mean, how I took on this block. It's all the little things. You know what I mean?
And I also think, just attribute to Kel what he's been able to do and come in and speak. And obviously Coach Franklin said he's not a well-polished motivational speaker, but to just be able to come in and hear a message from somebody who's so well accomplished himself, and then all his accomplishments he brought to Penn State as a wrestling coach. It's awesome to have that that symmetry between football and wrestling too.
For sure.
And it's crazy too, because like a lot of these things that we talk about in terms of being successful, it's all little things. It's all like simple things. You know what I mean? Simple is hard at times, and you make it even harder when you don't necessarily understand what simple truly is. You know?
Yeah. And the more you can simplify in this era, man, whenever there's so much smoke and mirrors and so much flash and things to get distracted on, if you can simplify and commit to a process. I know that's another thing that Franklin always says, and as a young guy or as a young recruit who may be watching this, you don't want to think about being disciplined. You don't want to think about consistency and simplifying things, but that is what's going to get you from point A to point B. You're not better than anybody else at this level when you come in physically. The way you separate yourself is in that process, and by finding a way to incrementally get better with time. Julian, let me ask you, actually, before I even ask you anything, I meant to bring this up earlier, but in my NCAA Dynasty last year, you had like 4,000 receiving yards and 48 tutties. I was throwing you so many go balls. The speed Julian Fleming has in this game, the hands, contested catch. I just want to say I appreciate you. I won my first Dynasty League championship, and you ain't even know it, bro. I'm in my room yelling at you when you're dropping passes. Whole time I know you in real life, so it's a little weird now that I think about that.
Well, I appreciate you for
hey, bro, you already know, bro.
Sure.
You already know, man.
I wish they had NCAA when Hawk was playing, man.
What do you think my rating would have been, Vaughn? Okay.
Nah, let's next question. All right. Question. Nah, you probably honestly, like a 68.
No, you're tweaking. I'm more than 68. Don't do that. Don't put me at 68, bro.
Nah,
what's your ranking on there right now?
80.
You're at 80.
Yeah. I know it's not crazy, you know what I mean?
No, it's good though. I'm like a 73.
I'm like a 73.
Give me that.
Probably like freshman, sophomore year.
Yeah, 73. Yeah,
because you know the body starts decaying, and
I do know.
Things go.
It goes quick.
It goes quick. We're all old up here. We can say that.
No doubt. Let me ask you one more thing, Julian. I know we've kept you, and I appreciate your time, but you mentioned having a younger sister. I got 4 younger sisters. Vaughn's got family. We know how that is. Yeah. And we brought up those big 4th down catches. I want to know, did you get the chance to talk to baby sis? Did you get the chance to talk to your family after those happened? What was that moment like? Were they lit for you? Yeah. Tell me about it.
So I got my mom called me right after the game, her and my aunt, and they were hyped. They were out watching at one of my neighbor's house, and they were hyped, just yelling on my phone and yelling, and I don't inhale, right? Yeah. So at that time I was just like, thank you, and I don't really get hyped. Like, I'm not a hype person.
Okay.
So I'm just like trying to entertain the idea of them being so happy. And I appreciate them calling me being so happy, but at the same time, like, I'm not someone that shows enough emotion to try to be like, yeah, let's start. And we're on the bus.
Yeah. So you can like, yeah, well, everybody, you like, yeah, thank you.
Right, exactly. You know, there's all other people on the bus, and if I start yelling, they're like, that guy, you know. So I tried to embrace it, and I tried to be really happy about it, and I appreciate them calling me. And obviously, it was great. They wished me congratulations, and they, like I said, hype out of this world.
As they should be. As they should be. Long time coming, man. Those moments, you know, you remember them for the rest of your life. So you earned that.
I got another question too. You know, you're a very talented individual. You know, I got my sleeve. Hawk is working on his soon.
I got a chest tat.
Yeah.
It's a hawk. It's just a big bird. Just
Hawk.
That chest hurt.
Yeah, it did.
It do. Yeah.
It did. I don't have that tat. Go ahead, dog.
What is your favorite tat? Like, what does some of your tats mean? You know what I mean? Like, what is...
Oh, that's such a horrible question.
Nah, I'm just saying. Nah, I just like, because...
Okay, I can genuinely sit up here and tell you
we should have started
the majority of my tattoos don't mean anything.
Oh, I respect that. I respect the
transparency. Because you like it.
I see stuff I like, and I got it.
But that means something, though. Like, you know what I mean?
The only one that, like, genuinely has a real meaning is the clock. That's one of my sister's birthdays, just tatted around the clock in the Romans.
Yeah, that's hard.
The all-seeing eye over. On my leg, I got the one that we kind of were able to talk about when I was able to share in front of the team.
Yeah.
It was just without darkness, one cannot know light. So I think that's a really, really good quote I have of myself. I have a couple other quotes and stuff all around. I love my back piece. You know, I have my whole back done. I got a cross with Jesus on it. That's really important to me. And I was never a super religious person, probably going into the past couple years. And that's something I really wanted to start priding myself on and just trusting in the Lord in this process. So I think I have a lot of tattoos, like I said, that don't really mean anything. Like why I have an Egyptian on my leg, I don't know.
Don't know, but you liked it.
But you like it, though. But
exactly.
You like it.
So there was stuff I liked, but there are certain things that I have that do have some meaning behind them.
You bring up your faith, and having seen that grow and having, you know, poured water onto those seeds and seen the results of that, what do you think it allows you to do on and off the field? Do you feel like there's more balance, more of a sense of peace and a genuine understanding of your path? Where is that contributing in your life?
I think it was really, really great for me to take some of the pressure off myself. Because I put so much pressure on myself. I always put every single individual situation on myself, like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? And just being able to be like, what should I do? And like just not even hear it, but being able to just understand that there's somebody else there that's always there for you every single step of the way, every single second of the day. Just it takes a whole different set of skills and a whole different set of trust. And just having that weight lifted off your back is it's an amazing thing. And like I said, for me, for a long time, it was hard. And I attribute it to a lot of people that I've had in my past that have helped me, become believing in the Lord and trusting the Lord. So I think it's awesome for everybody. Obviously, if you have a different religion or whatever it is, I always respect that. But I think it's been great for me personally.
No doubt. Well, I respect it, brother.
So, my bad, last question.
No, please.
What would you say, to a young wide receiver trying to make the right decision, whatever that may be?
In football or in recruitment or what?
Football and life, like what is some advice that you can impart to, young wide receivers who are coming up from high school to college, in your long journey, you've learned a lot. So what do you think you should impart onto them?
Honestly, the one big message I would have would be never get discouraged. Because that was always really hard for me. You don't make a play.
Yeah.
You get hurt.
Yeah.
Something happens at home. Whatever it may be, just don't get discouraged. Just trust your process, trust your path, trust your family's path, trust your coaches. Even though it's hard to trust your coaches sometimes, at the end of the day, trust them.
Yeah.
So I would say never to get discouraged is one. And another one I would say is just don't get bored with the basics. And it sounds so cliche and simple, but it's real.
Yeah.
Building a routine and having the same routine every single day, it's not boring.
Yeah.
It's going to make you better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And being able to enhance that routine every once in a while, that's just that 1%. And, the percentages, once you get to college, to find that extra 1%, that 0.5%, that 1/100% is so much harder than when you're in, high school coming up. So those would be my messages to everybody.
Let me say this. I love that. You mentioned not getting discouraged, and that's, it's hard to do, especially being a college football player. Like, literally every day you're going into film, and if you mess up, we're going to tell you about it, and you're going to think about it until you figure it out, right? Like, it's easy to be discouraged at this level of the game. But what I can tell you now that I'm done playing, and I'm sure you've already come to this realization, is those failures and the lessons that you learn along the way are what even makes playing this game worth it. Everybody wants to talk about NIL, and championships are cool. I'm not saying they're not, but this isn't about football. And what I've learned now that I'm done playing is the same habits that carry you as a football player and allow you to incrementally get better as an athlete, those same habits and that same discipline will allow you to grow as a person, as a father, and as a husband down the line. Like, it all is the same thing if you think about it. Like, the way you do what's the quote?
The way you do anything is
the
how
way
you do
everything. That's so real. So I think it's a blessing to be able to go through some of those problems and some of those barriers on the way along your journey, because they are what actually allow you to grow as an individual, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I agree completely. You know, I'm on my 6th year. And I've definitely had a lot of pitfalls, but I'm thankful for it all. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of times where, you know, you'll ask God for something. You'll ask for more knowledge, or you'll ask for strength. You know what I mean? He's not going to give that to you in a conventional way. Right. He's going to give you problems to go through, tribulations to go through in order to make you stronger, to give you exactly what you asked for. You know, he's going to give you problems to solve, to make you smarter, to make you wiser, to give you exactly what you asked for. So I think it's really just important for everyone to understand that everything is going to come with a price, whether you like it or not, and what you're willing to pay is what you're going to get out of it. So no doubt.
I'd agree too. And just going kind of into that discouragement thing, when I say never get discouraged too, I mean discouragement to you should be motivation.
Yeah.
Because like you said, going into a film room knowing you did something bad means that you know
motivation.
You did something bad and you want to do something that much better.
No doubt.
And it's never an outside presence that's the pressure on you. I feel like majority of the time as athletes and as like people who hold yourself to a very, very high standard, it's always you. And it's harder to shake yourself than it is to shake out what someone else said.
No doubt.
So I think that's a major thing too. When you're talking to yourself, just let it be positive.
Yeah.
So, you know, you talk about discouragement, and a lot of it is internal, but there are some obvious factors in terms of the coverage that we get as players. You understand this better than anybody because you were as big of a recruit as anyone. And things didn't click immediately like a lot of these people in the media and fans may have expected. And there's pressure from those two groups specifically. So when you are feeling discouraged, if you can give advice to someone who's watching, how do you even navigate when you have people who don't even know you, who have no idea that you're going under the needle, and you're going through all these strikes of adversity to get to where you want to go, but they're talking about you as if they do know you, and they're speaking about the quality of athlete you are, and in turn, talking about the quality of man that maybe you are. I mean, they go far with this.
Yes.
How do you feel about that in this era of college football?
I genuinely, I don't want to say I have a hatred towards it, but I have a very, very, I get upset by it.
Yeah.
Not even for myself necessarily, but towards 17, 18-year-old kids who are out there playing the game that they love. Yeah. And there's people just bad-mouthing them and saying the most disgusting, like genuinely disgusting stuff to players. And like, we're trying to win too.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I drop a ball. Like, it's like, I want to catch the ball.
You think you want me to catch the ball more than I want to catch it?
Yeah, like you think you want to win more than I want to win? Like, come on now. Like, be serious.
I tried to compare it the other day to somebody. Because somebody asked me, like, what do people say to you after the USC game? I was like, honestly, not good stuff. Not good stuff. Crazy. Yeah. And I try to not pay attention to social media and what people say. But I would just try to compare it to my family. I'm like, all right, so imagine like a real estate person or someone who's selling houses or properties, and you miss a sale. How mad would you be if I came to your work and told you how horrible you were at your job because you missed one singular sale?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I think about it. Like, imagine if it was roles reversed and you were on the opposite side of what we are. Yeah. And there were just constantly people judging you and taking shots at you and this and the third. And people always say it comes with the territory. And I agree with that. But no one deserves the stuff that people get said to them.
Yeah, no.
I don't think.
Yeah, no. And I mean, mentally though, like, that wears down on anybody, whether you're trying to pay attention or not. Like, you are who you are. That is your name. That's who you are. And when you look yourself up or you see what they're saying about you, you hear your name, whether you want to hear it or not, whether it's negative or positive, that's going to affect you. You know, as much as you try to not inhale, like Coach Kel says, but that's why it's a point of emphasis for him, because it's so hard to do.
It's not an easy thing to do.
And I think as men, too, we're also somewhat prideful, too, when it comes to our families.
100%, yeah.
When people like bring your families into it, or like maybe your work ethic or your belief or something like that, that always really throws me. I'm like, I can't listen to it, can't listen to it. Right. But there's always that little bit back there that you just kind of, it takes a little bit that extra day, that extra hour, whatever it may be, to separate it and just let it go.
Think
It's
about
hard.
it a little longer.
Ironically, I didn't deal with a whole lot of fans talking too crazy. There was some of it, but the one time you talk about family getting brought up, I was at Ohio State in 2019, and your guys' fans knew every one of my sisters by name. They knew how old they were. They had plenty to say, and I'm a pretty even keel guy. I'm even keel. I don't play about my sisters. Like, I'm not finna play about them. Like, and we're losing this game right now. I'm pissed. So look, I don't see Franklin standing behind me. I got no idea he's right there. I hear something, Aria, this and that. Turn right around and start giving this fan the business.
It goes.
My man, Coach Franklin, you ever see him on TV with his hand over the mic? He's going at somebody. Somebody's getting the business. He came up to you with that hand over the mic, and I won't repeat what he said, but that was the last time I engaged a fan. As a general rule, though, if you're a football player that watches this, you should make it a rule. If somebody can't draw cover 3 on a whiteboard, we don't listen to what they got to say about nothing to do with football. We can't do it.
Correct. Correct.
That's the fact of the matter. I don't take criticism from people who don't know what inside zone is.
Yeah, and half this time, at this
cover
point,
2.
people have gotten so comfortable sitting behind a phone or a computer and just saying whatever they want to say. And at the end of the day, like I said, don't get discouraged.
And 9 times out of 10, they probably couldn't pick up the ball and run 10 yards.
Yeah, no doubt. You
know
can't touch your toes,
in a Pee Wee game.
Yeah, in a Pee Wee game. Like, let's be honest with you. But that was it, man.
Yeah, well, Julian, electric episode. Appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate y'all always.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Make sure you guys stay tuned over here at State Media for more in-depth coverage of Penn State football. The Lions Den is going to continue dropping episodes as Penn State continues to make this climb towards the college football playoff. I'm your host, Aeneas Hawkins. That's Devon J. Thomas. We just sat down with Julian Fleming. We'll see you guys next week.